Guys, I'm going to cut straight into this one today. Morecambe FC may sooner or longer, or later, shall I say, be in the past, as this club could sadly cease to exist if there's no buyer for this popular coastal town football club. Before I introduce my guest today, let me just discuss what's going on here, give it a kind of a narrative. Let's see what's going on. So it was Derek Adams, who's the manager of Morecambe right this minute, who put things into perspective 3 years ago now. He said in October 2022, "I'm worried about the future of the football club after the owners have put it up for sale." The Bond Group investment announced it wants someone to come in to buy this football club of them, as both Jason Whittingham and Colin Goldring stepped down from the board. Now, these two guys were behind the fall of the rugby side, Worcester Warriors, who didn't pay tax and seemingly couldn't run this rugby club. And sadly, due to that, they had to disband, and they failed to meet the deadline set by the RFU in the first place to find the right buyer. There's a bit of a theme going on here, failing to meet deadlines, as further down the line, the Shrimps, who obviously they are currently owning, failed to pay player wages on time in March 2023. Ultimately, this was due to Jason Whittingham and Colin Goldring, as they had left this football club up for sale, and a temporary investor, as I've got here, I might butcher this up, Savshot Jahal, I believe it's pronounced, was looking to buy the club at the time. Now, Jahal has done the best he could with meeting these new deadlines with this football club he was trying to acquire, but his head then turned to try and purchase Wigan Athletic, and that interest soon went. Since then, relegation and a point deduction, with also 16 players leaving at the end of May 2024. It's like setting Derek Adams, the manager, up in a battle with no weaponry. Morecambe are currently second from bottom with 23 points. They finished 15th last season, but that was through at least little support, or certainly more than they're currently getting. Let's get a fan view on all of this. I'm proud to have Michael on the channel, who goes by, is it Hoppy on social? That's how it's...
Hopey.
Hoppy. I've butchered that one out. I knew it was.
That's alright, mate. Don't worry.
I knew it was going to be one of the two. He has his own channel. I will be leaving the link down below, so be sure to check his content out. But first of all, welcome, mate.
Thank you very much for having me, Rob. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you on. I'm going to be quite honest and crude here. These are incredibly crap times, aren't they, mate? Let's be honest here. I mean, how do you feel when you see Worcester Warriors getting booted out of the league, and they're now disbanded? How do you feel when you see that, knowing that your football owners who were the ones behind that?
Well, shocking, really. It's just a worry, because you do have that in the back of your mind when all of these things are going on. You do think that it could happen to us, because it's happened before to our current owner and his former business partner. It's worrying, to say the least. At the minute, I'm not sure what the light at the end of the tunnel is. We've got a potential buyer in Kuljit Singh Mommy and the group at Punjab Warriors, but that's not materialised. That's gone on for a while now. So I think I'd probably urge Jason to put a deadline on the sale and to try and get it over the line, or move on to other buyers, because it's just been dragging on, and we need a new owner by the end of the season, because if we end up in the National League under our current regime, I really don't know how we'll carry on.
Yeah, no, completely, mate. I mean, that kind of, the kind of league we're in, the EFL, I mean, they do set these deadlines, and they have a right to, in some sense, because their best interest is the fans at the end of the day, isn't it?
The thing is, the EFL can't set deadlines. No one can set a deadline. Only the owner can set a deadline. The EFL have no power in this. They can just accept or deny the ownership. The EFL are powerless. That's really why we want the independent regulators to come in, because that's when we can start getting down to the nitty-gritty, really.
No, true, true. I get what you mean in that sense. Just in the sense of, because obviously, because their best interest is the fans at the end of the day. They want the fans to actually have a football club here, because I know they can award clubs point deductions in terms of failing to meet deadlines as such.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My kind of point was, this industry is extremely hard, and this bad ownership. I mean, what we've seen before, what we saw for Bury 5 years ago, we can see where things lead, can't we?
We can. It's happened to Bury. It's happened to Macclesfield.
Yeah, Macclesfield, another one.
Not as bad, but it's happened to Torquay. They've gone down, but I don't think. Well, they haven't folded. They went to administration. We got bought out, and it was quite a quick turnaround. That's one of the more positive stories, but we don't want that to happen at Morecambe, because for every Torquay, like there is a Bury or there is a Macclesfield, who do end up having to go down to, say, the North West counties and start again and rebuild. And that'd be catastrophic for Morecambe, going down. Not to say that it's a bad level, because I go and watch levels like games at North West counties, but it kills the community really. You lose the academy, you lose the community sports, you lose a lot of things around the club, and you lose a lot of the fans really.
Yeah.
It's a shame to say it, but most clubs do have that small hardcore following who would stick by it through thick and thin, but 90% of our fans, quite a lot of people, would disappear. Because I remember back to the Jim Bentley days back in like from when I started going 2015 through to Derek Adams times 2019. Attendances weren't great. We're nothing like we get nowadays, and it definitely got fall below that. Should we happen to become a Phoenix club and have to go into, say, the North West Counties League.
I was going to say, yeah, sorry. I was going to say, is there because I know Bury before obviously I don't, as much as I know, I don't think nothing had happened here because they didn't have a good relationship. But Bury had AFC Bury, another non-league club. Is there a non-league club that certainly the fans have looked at would be possible in terms of like merging?
Not at this stage. I don't think we're at that stage yet.
No, definitely not. But is there one that it would kind of go hand in hand straight away?
Not in the Bury situation. Not like a local club like that. I'd say probably the closest one to us would be fans who go and watch Kendal. Yeah. Kendal Town. They go and watch them. But again, we're not at that level yet, and I really hope we don't get that.
No. Yeah. No, without doubt, mate. Like, I hate to see any club go. I mean, I support Norwich. Even if Ipswich did go, we're in this particular position, I'd want them to survive. It's
it's like I'm the same with, say, like Accrington or Fleetwood. Yeah. It's like you're meant to hate them as a fan, but as a fan of football at all levels, it'd be devastating.
Of course, mate. Yeah. I mean, like, exactly. Like, some Liverpool fans, I'm sure, and some Man United fans will go, "Oh, it'd be great to see Liverpool go and disband and whatever." But the thing is, these are jobs that are aligned to, like, people are going to be out of jobs.
Absolutely.
It isn't just that, I'm sure the football players will find clubs to play for once more, but people who live in the local area, that is them jobless, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah. Massive worry. And we've got quite a lot of great people at our football club. Like, the commercial manager's a local fella, a guy called Martin Thomas. He's a local guy. He's been working at the club for a long while now. But it'd be devastating to see lads like him lose his job, or, say, like the club's shop staff, like the woman who runs that, Natalie, she's local. Yeah. It'd be devastating for things like that, and just local people losing their jobs, like the heads of, like, the catering department and the head of stadium operations, Toby. He's been there. I used to work at the club. He's been there for years, and it'd be, like I say, it'd be horrible for people like that who are passionate about the club to lose their jobs. People who've been there through thick and thin. They've been there through, like, what happened with, like, in between when we had the whole saga with Diego Lemos and Joseph Carla. Those guys were there back then.
Yeah.
And we've been through it before. Hopefully we can get through it again. But it would be devastating for those type of people, because they live and breathe Morecambe Football Club.
Of course they do, mate. What's it like right now being in the ground watching these games? How do the fans address themselves when they go to a home game?
Well, you get your you get your Jason outs, which is quite right.
Yeah, without doubt.
But I think at the moment, we're all quite chirpy because
Mm.
we've pretty much decided we're going to back the lads.
Yeah.
I'm part of the Shrimps Trust, and we've recently launched a campaign called Back the Lads, where we're going to put some money into getting some new things around the ground, say like some murals to put up or a singing section in the stand, a drum stand for the local drummer who's a young lad called Charlie who does a lot of that, and we're just going to try and put a bit of money into helping the atmosphere more at Morecambe Football Club and help it thrive and get bigger.
That's brilliant.
So
Yeah.
it's the atmosphere. The atmosphere is good around the club. People are worried, quite rightly. Everyone's worried, but we're just smiling through in the face of adversity. We're trying to back the lads. We're backing Derek. There's a minority who maybe don't back the manager, but again, that's a minority. You get that in every club.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see it go somewhere like Tranmere, like what's going on with Nigel Adkins. I don't know how he's still in a job, but I don't like going down that avenue because Derek Adams is a great fella, a really great man who has a passion for Morecambe Football Club because he'd come back to a club 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
But who would stick with Morecambe like that? Derek Adams is a brilliant fella and he's helped us through so many great times and so many dark times, and I have a lot of love for Derek.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've answered one of my questions there. How much time do you have from because it's interesting with when clubs are at this particular stage. What I always find interesting is you don't just see these managers as a manager in terms of what they bring to that starting 11 each week, but you actually see them open up their personality because what I'm kind of saying here is, these particular situations, the manager expresses so much to the fans. You really see how their personality works in this thing, because I've seen Derek Adams and what he's been saying to you guys, and he's he's actually coming out on local radio and he's actually addressing. Some managers do step back and they go, look, I'm just the coach here, but it really shows who Derek is as a person when he comes to the the front of the stage and goes, all right, guys, I'm going to talk about it. Let's all kind of work here as a team, including the fans in that as a team,
Oh, absolutely. Derek, he did come back at the start of his season. Yeah, start of his season. And he did, he came out and said he wasn't going to speak as much about the ownership issues this time. I think he only really came out with Rod Taylor because it was getting to a breaking point and it was needing to be discussed. Derek's been great about this whole thing. He used to call it out when it needed to be.
Yeah.
So it was a very famous quote saying January means nothing to me. We're absolutely skint, and I know a lot of people use that. But it's if it needs to be called out, it needs to be called out, and that's what I do side with Derek on. But I think this year there's been a bit more of a divide with that. I think he's tried to get on with the football side, and I think we're seeing a lot of that divide now. I think people are getting sick of the whole ownership thing. They want it to be at an end, but I think people are starting to see that we can try and sort of off the field. We can do things outside the games, but during the games, we're going to back the lads. We're going to back Derek, and we're going to try and push forward. Because I think that's what Derek's trying to do. I think he's trying to separate the two issues. It's like we'll sort the off-field stuff off-field.
Yeah.
On-field during a match day, we're going to focus on getting those 3 points and staying in League Two.
Yeah, no, completely. And I mean, just to, just kind of continuing on what you were saying there, my experience with Morecambe, I've always known them as a nice kind of fixated EFL club. Like you get kind of clubs who kind of dip out. One is like Hartlepool, for instance, and then the National League. Like they were once EFL, but ever since I've started liking football, I've always kind of like known them as a like ever since I was a kid, I've always known them as an EFL club. Like I think it will be 20 years in 2 years from now since you guys are like being an EFL club.
Being EFL, it's massive for us, really.
Yeah.
Because it's like you get your things like being in FIFA, like that's massive for people abroad. It's like finding new fans and people falling in love with Morecambe. We've got fans literally all over the world. We've got fans in Spain, fans in China, fans who we'd never get if we weren't like an EFL club.
Yeah,
it's great the reach that being an EFL club have, and to lose that honestly would be devastating. And there has been a few people saying throughout the years, it's like if Morecambe went down, we'd probably never come back up, and that is a worry.
It's hard to get out of them leagues. The National League, I mean, it's like any league. Any league now is getting harder and bigger. And I mean, you've got like two blokes from Hollywood investing in a non-league 5 years ago, however long it was. It isn't easy, is it, mate?
No, it's not. There has been a lot of like inflation in like player wages and in club prices as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that's got to do with our situation, but
yeah, just getting on that.
There are people out there probably would be willing to spend like a lot on a football club.
Yeah,
it's like, wasn't there rumours recently of like Rihanna or someone buying into Tranmere?
There was another. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. But like, I mean, kind of, if I saw that 10 years ago, I'd think, yeah, that's great fake news. But like, it ever since you see,
yeah, it's realistic now.
Yeah, it completely is, mate. Just getting on, like player wages as such. At the end of May 2020, because this has been an issue now for a few years, hasn't it? With the Bond Group investment. So the club's been in like a bad stick, and I mean, applaud to the club itself for being in the EFL still, because it didn't happen yesterday. This happened in 2022. This kind of bad lack of ownership. But like, at the end of May 2024, we saw 16 players leave, no doubt because of the lack of finance. One being Michael Mellon, who's now at Bradford, scored an incredible amount of goals last season for you guys. Where do you think the club would be, or certainly have a fight to be, if they weren't under this poor ownership? Because the momentum you guys have had, like, all it takes is just the season after to renew player contracts, to have keep players who are out on loan, make it a permanent deal. Like that added finance can do wonders. Where do you think the club would be if there was good ownership right now?
I have no doubt that we'd still be in League One, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
And I know some people do go on about, a lot of people say Cole Stockton switched off and that could have kept us in League One, say, if he'd carried on scoring goals and not sort of struck about a bit and sort of went on strike, as to say. And that probably would have kept us up. But I think during that crucial January transfer window, where Derek said we were skint, that if we did spend and we were given what we were promised, I think we would have signed smart, because Derek, under that regime, Derek had a fella with him called Greg Strong, who was his transfer guy. He was head of recruitment. And he, honestly, that man, he had some great contacts. And it's been sorely missed, if I'm completely honest. He's now up in Ross County. I think he's still there currently. Great guy with great contacts. And Derek Adams can work magic with low funds. He can work absolute magic.
The thing is, you do have to, don't you? At the end of the day,
you do. A club like ours, you've got to. It's like how Jim Bentley managed through all those years, keeping us as an EFL club. It's
the key word is being sustainable, isn't it? Really, because I relate. With Norwich, we can attract big players, but like what I mean is in the sense of certainly the kind of. There are big names coming in as such for the league we're in, but when we make the move to the Premier League, we struggle to make them even bigger names that it is a necessity to need. And I want to kind of talk about this, mate, because I think the location of the club links it in completely, in terms of where you are. So a former player of my club, Neil Adams, he said to a youngster at the club, I can't remember who he said, he basically made the point of, if you're coming here as a younger lad wanting that kind of nightlife and everything else, that isn't necessarily here. But if you're wanting that family life as like to settle down, then this is particularly good. Well, my point, mate, is where you are yourself, location wise, because Morecambe are the same as well, like very far out the way. You get your kind of typical clubs like your London-based clubs and clubs in big cities, like they can attract them players as such, and have such like a popularity there with the location it has. But that key of being sustainable is so huge, isn't it? In terms of it's about the youth, it's about who we have in the academy. Them academy players aren't just going to be a faultless fort. Come 2 years from now. 2 years from now, we want them in the first team.
Yeah, we do a lot of that with our academy. We promote a lot of young players to the first team squads. Like there's a lad called Adam Fairclough. He's flying.
Yeah.
He's had a few stints in the first team. Nathan Snowball as well is another one recently who's come into the side, who's come up from the academy, and we signed a lad called Sol Fox Kande up on a pro contract. He's now he's part of the first team. He's not been able to play recently because he's had a hamstring injury, but hopefully when he's back fighting fit, he'll be back in helping Morecambe stay up.
No,
but yeah, Morecambe is one of them areas. If say the Eden project goes ahead in Morecambe, the area will be up and coming. So I do think that the football club will be something in people's sights.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one because I know there's people who would wonder, is the sale being stalled to wait for an Eden project and sell the club for a higher amount? I don't think it's a case of that. I think it's just a case of either lack of funds from the current owner or paperwork maybe not going through it needs to be, and things are just taking its time. But Morecambe is an up-and-coming area, and any potential owner who is looking at Morecambe does need to take that into account.
Yeah.
That maybe in a few years, being in Morecambe probably would be quite profitable. Football itself is a strange business to get into. It's a hard one. There's not many owners will come into a football club and make a profit. It's very rare that happens. But when you look at Morecambe, there may be a bit of money in there in the future. So, like when you say about location, that's quite an interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, well, like you're listing there, the location in that kind of sense for Morecambe it being a good thing, and I'm not saying the location of my club Norwich is any bad at all. It's just that idea of, because I look at a lot of these kind of clubs very far out of the way, and like other than kind of Newcastle with the ownership they have, and Sunderland to name another, with kind of big owners and what have you. I guess the key thing there is there's a city involved. I then look at other clubs and don't get me wrong, they are run good. Like some are, normally they all are run good, but it's just the fact of trying to pull in so many other players is so hard given the nature of it all. Like I remember when the Newcastle takeover happened, they said about how the struggle of getting them kind of big name players to that particular club, due to how far away it actually is. Like it's all well and good thinking you're going to get Mbappe, but like I'm pretty sure Mbappe would still want to go to Chelsea and what have you. But that's another story. I'm talking on the sense of here of how key it is being sustainable, and like you said, like if new owners when they come in, when it materializes, they have lessons. They have a lot to kind of remember from the failures of this Bond group. They have things that they won't do. Like they certainly done. Given, I mean, I won't hold up much of your time, mate. But where do you think they finish this season? Because one thing this club does have at the moment is, I'm sure, is momentum. Where do you particularly think they finish this season?
I think we'll stay up, and it is with that momentum because after the January transfer window, I think we've signed well. I do think we've got some players in who are showing their quality and what we can expect, like the likes of Andy Dallas, who's come on loan from Barnsley, Callum Cook, who was a free agent, I'm fairly sure. Ryan Schofield, the new keeper, he played on Saturday. He made one error, which cost us a game. But other than that, the lads played really well. Other than the one mistake, I couldn't really fault him. But I do think we've signed well. Yeah. I really do think that we could be. Well, we're normally favourites to go down, but I think out of the few that we've got in relegation zone, we probably will be the favourites to stay up out of that. Like I say, what's going on at Tranmere, Carlisle, weirdly hiring Mark Hughes. I didn't really understand that appointment.
Yeah.
So I was worried it was going to be someone like an Ian Evatt type who probably, let's face it, probably would come in and keep Carlisle up and could even storm them to mid-table.
Yeah.
Because he's that sort of manager.
I did see that one. Yeah.
No, I did see that one. And I actually worry for Carlisle. hiring Mark Hughes after what happened at Bradford, I do worry that Carlisle will pretty much relegate themselves. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll stay up.
Yeah, no, I do as well, mate. I do. I think that experience is there, and like I said, one thing at the moment is momentum. Anyway, mate, thank you so much for coming on the channel today, and
My pleasure.
I think it's just something like, I mean, when I messaged you, this is a particular topic that needed to be talked about and needed to be addressed. So I'm glad we gave it its kind of exposure. I'm still a new channel, so anyone would like to like and subscribe, then please feel free to do so. The support would be great, and yeah, please do also check out Michael on his channel. I'll leave the link down below, and also, mate, I'll after this I'll get you to send me the link of the support trust. We'll put that into the video description as well. You know, as he was saying there, thank you so much for watching tonight's video. Yeah, apologies for the camera towards the end there. My face completely going out of the call. That might be for the better, I don't know, but my SD card completely lost memory space, so my fault completely. I'll try and not make that happen again, but yeah, do go check out Michael. He's really good conversation with himself tonight, like I said. Yeah, he's got the Shrimps Trust organisation. I'll be leaving the link. It's Back the Lads, so do click on that. It will be in the video description down below. And thank you for watching again. Do give this video some support. You know, any like that you can give this, and also be sure to subscribe, but also mainly share the video. You know, this video was done to kind of bring this situation to its light. You know, I felt it needed to be talked about, and I'm glad we've done just that. So do be sure to share this one around, and yeah, I hope to see you guys soon. See you in the next one. Thank you and goodbye.